The 3 Cents podcast is recorded on Australian soil, and we'd like to acknowledge the Turrbal people, the traditional custodians of the land in which we live on today, and pay our respects to their elders past and present.
Jumbo.
Baoni.
G'day, and welcome to another episode of 3 Cents.
My name is Sophie.
I'm Tyre.
And I'm Dara.
And we will be sharing 3 unique perspectives, insights, opinions, and keeping it spicy, right, girls?
That's right.
Okay, so I've gone off my Instagram hiatus. It's been a hot 3 weeks since I've been on the gram. Just, a bit of a detox situation.
3 weeks.
But,
Wow.
I managed to scroll across to the shade room where you're really going to get all the tea and you're going to see a whole lot of craziness and ratchetness happening 247. Okay, guys, so the shade room says, a man's not supposed to cook, wash dishes, or wash his clothes if he's got a woman.
Wow.
No.
Dara says no.
How about no?
N-O.
What do we think about that? What do we think about that? I mean, do we
I think I just saw
agree?
Dara rolling her eyes. I think that says a lot. Dara, do you want to tell us why you rolled your eyes?
You guys can't see me, so I was hoping I could just get away with that one. No, but I think it's such a gender stereotype, really, to have that expectation that just because you have a woman, all these things need to be done. You need to wash the dishes, you need to cook, you need to look after the family. I feel like it should be something that's a shared, sort of a shared deal with each other. That you talk about it and you decide how you want to do things, or you basically just have empathy or awareness of the other person. For example, if I saw my partner was, maybe extra busy at work, was coming home late, was stressed, then I feel like, yes, I would probably pick up the cooking a bit more or the cleaning a bit more.
Yes.
But it would go both ways. So if, for example, I have an assignment due, I expect my partner would be the one to cater for me because we're a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't necessarily believe in the traditional stereotypes or the gender roles that have been assigned to us, especially as Africans.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Sophie, what do you think about that debate?
I'm curious to know who actually said that quote. Does it actually? Does it say who?
See, we have a Miss Shepherd. You know what?
So it's actually a woman.
It's a woman, and the rapper, I'm not going to pronounce this properly, but I think it's Lil Duval, was like, "Do she like women?" Just asking for my woman. So clearly he's not about it. Yeah.
I, on a personal level, agree with Dara. I just, for what I want, it's not something that I would accept for myself. But in saying that, I know that it's different for different people because different people want different things. There are women who absolutely love catering to their men at such a domestic level, and men likewise who want to be the sole provider in the household. Not judging them, do you? I have no issue with it, and I know like what we accept for ourselves is like it'll be based on different things, like what you saw growing up, what culture you come from, what you believe in, what religion you come from, because religion can also have a big impact on what people actually accept. Even if they don't like it, they'll still do it because but then also at the same time, it depends on what freedoms are afforded to you, which can determine what you want. And I know for me, I don't want that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to share duties.
Yeah.
I want to, like, it's not anyone's job in the house. Just like the same way it's not anyone's job to bring money. It's everyone's job. Like, I see it as a partner, not my life is to cater to you. So I will cook and clean and make sure that everything you want is done.
So you're not
because,
into the Destiny's Child, cater to you
Oh,
song.
see, I like the song, but when it comes to
It has a
reality,
good beat.
I
got the
do
lyrics.
like to take care of my man, but it's not like, I don't like to be labeled as that's your job, because I would expect him to do the same things for me. We're doing it for us. It's not like, yeah, I will cook and clean because I am a woman. My man cannot step in the kitchen. Like, come on now. Like, I don't want that for me, but whoever wants it, good for you. Yeah.
Yes, well, apparently the definition on, I think it's Planned Parenthood, said that gender roles in society means how we're expected to act, speak, dress, groom, or conduct ourselves based on our sex. So the example that they had was, girls or women are supposed to, dress in a more feminine way and be really polite and accommodating and nurturing.
Yeah.
And then the men are supposed to be, strong, aggressive, and kind of like hold the family, basically. Which is not like, I think that's a very stereotypical,
Yeah.
I guess,
It is.
examples, because it can be the other way around. Like, there can be some men that are, a little bit more
Yeah.
feminine. There's some females that are a bit more,
Yeah.
aggressive and...
But you know what's dangerous? The fact that
Yeah.
we even call that feminine. I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true, actually.
why are we calling cooking and cleaning and all those things feminine? Like, are they just not domestic things that we have to take care of for our
Yeah.
survival? And I think that's where it becomes dangerous, because we're saying, even when we see women going into engineering or traditionally male stereotype jobs, in the workforce, we say women in masculine roles, or if men go into nursing, men going into feminine roles. And it's like,
Yeah,
it's a
that's
role. It's not feminine or masculine. I think that's where it gets like dangerous.
Yeah.
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 And that's where the stereotypes come from. Like, you're a woman, you should be nursing, or you should be at home with the kids, or you're a nurturer.
That's very true.
But you're a man, you're the man.
But where
Fix it.
do you think that really comes from? I mean, if I look at my childhood and the type of toys that I was given, the type of outfits I was put in, that kind of thing, it starts from when you're young.
Oh, yeah, it starts early.
And I don't think it's my parents' fault at all, but I think society says, okay, your child that is now a female should like dolls, they should like princesses. And I did.
Them Bratz dolls, that collection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I was into the Spice Girls, all of that. But yeah, I think it's just being able to juggle, being able to do both. So being able to play with the dolls, but then also being able to play with the trucks.
That you're not limited.
Exactly, that you're not limited. So I think it goes both ways, even for boys. Like, the fact that, parents might shy away from giving their little boys like a little baby doll to look after and, increase their capability to nurture. They don't want to do that. But for us as little tiny girls, we're busy holding babies. It's
almost like it comes naturally, but it's like
scary.
Is it conditioned, or is it like, or is it actually natural?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like it's a bit of both. Like, I think we all have a nurturing side within us, but it's something that you exercise and you make stronger. It's like going to the gym. So, you'll be weak if you don't practice your nurturing side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like even a man has that nurturing side.
Yeah.
But because they don't get to exercise it as much,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot weaker than ours.
Yeah, and I think we do get our identity from like watching people around us, even when we're growing up. So if you grow up seeing your mum doing all the nurturing, then you look at yourself and be like, I'm a woman too, so
I gotta be.
That's what I need.
I'll
to do.
just do it naturally. Like, you know what I mean? But if you see your dad, doing it more. I wonder if it's like going to be a different influence on you. Like if you start expecting things that are different for yourself, so you'd actually expect the man to be a bit more nurturing than what the general population would
think is the norm.
The norm, the stereotype.
What do you think, Tayo?
I think to Sophie's point, I think what you're exposed to when you're younger definitely does play a part in what you expect, I guess, from each person in the relationship. Like, for example, growing up, my dad was the one that was, doing the school drop-offs, doing the grocery runs with us.
Wow.
Cooking us dinner, like, regardless of, what time it was. Like, and I never saw him actually complain about it.
Yeah.
So I've definitely noticed that in my relationships as well, when I'm not seeing, like, you in the kitchen, like, I'm kind of just like, excuse me? Like, and but it's actually interesting though, because I can recall numerous times saying, like, yeah, well, my dad did this, so I can't actually see what is the excuse. Like, my dad did it for 4 girls, so like, I can't see why is your ass not in the kitchen?
Yeah,
I can't see that. Like, I can't. I'm not getting it. And I guess also from I guess the more financial side as well, I definitely did see that my dad was, paying for the majority of the bills and things like that. I don't feel like I necessarily expect the man to do that. I think because I have I have a higher sense of independence, I prefer to kind of take care of myself.
Right.
So I wouldn't expect you to then, like, pay for all the bills, just because I wouldn't feel... I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me personally.
I'd feel guilty.
Yeah.
I'd feel guilty. I'd feel like, you paid the rent, you paid the food, you paid for everything.
Like, when are you going to kick me out?
Sweep the floor. Literally.
I mean, we say that, but, like, I actually don't think we're necessarily the norm. Like, maybe it's our friendship group that thinks, in a similar manner. But I've definitely seen a lot of comments and a lot of opinions, and heard a lot of opinions of people saying, well, why should I have to work? Why should I have to contribute? A man should be looking after me 100%. It's my expectation. And there's a lot of people who say that with their chest. They are confident in that sort of scenario. And not that it's a bad thing, but it's quite an interesting thing, because it's a different lifestyle, really. And I think maybe for us, maybe it's because of where we live, maybe you can't necessarily live a great life with just one income,
especially in these times.
COVID-19 did it.
It's not like maybe a couple decades ago, but like currently it's just not feasible.
Too expensive.
Yeah,
unless you want to go live in Whoop Whoop.
In the end,
no Whoop
If you
Whoop.
want to live in the ends, then no offense to anyone living in the ends. But I wonder with that girl though, or the person who you observed doing that, like, do they wish to give it back then, in a way? Like, if she's expecting that the man must pay for everything, then does she also want the traditional quote unquote female role?
Yes. So
of staying at home.
So she's comfortable, cooking, cleaning, looking after their future kids, that kind of thing. And that's the kind of life she sees for herself. And I think you're right. I think it's a lot to do with how you see your family grow up as well, because I think she's just like, well, like my mom was very traditional. She never had a job. So yes, she's working now, but I think once she does find that partner, she's going to be looking for a partner that is willing to take on the role of looking after the family financially, and so that she can focus on growing a family, because that's where her passion is, which isn't a bad thing. It's just very different to where we're at now. Maybe I think again, I think it really depends on where you live, what's around you, the socio-economic situation that you're in. But for me, I really like things. Like, I like fancy things.
Yep.
So
and you gotta work.
So you gotta work. Like,
gotta work
I just can't be sitting there relying on someone and being like, hey, babe,
Can I get the Gucci bag?
can I have $100 to do my nail? I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to just be able to go do my thing without asking too many questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously with big purchases, you definitely want to chat about that. But otherwise, no.
I think to some extent, it's actually a personality thing as well. Because I feel like some people really want their own independence. Like, that's something that's so important to them. Because I know for me, even when I was like a 14, 15-year-old, having to ask my dad to have pocket money, like, I'd have to explain why I'm asking for money. And I hated that so much.
Yeah.
That the moment I turned 16, the legal age to start working, I was like, I'm going to work for Coles.
Wow.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna
money.
I'm gonna scan the groceries. Yeah. And like, just having that, like, I loved that job because that job represented independence to me. And I don't think I've ever changed ever since. Like, I just want my own money, like, want my own independence. I don't want to ask for money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I see stereotype type of roles, you know, being the stay-at-home woman. I feel like I have to get money from the person that I'm with.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd be extremely uncomfortable with that because I feel like I'd also have to ask. I mean, I have to explain myself as to why I need $500 for Saturday night, you know?
Exactly.
And I don't want to have to do that.
So do you think, so going back to the points that you raised about, you know, your friend and how she feels like should be, I think you mentioned that she's in a relationship now, or she's looking for somebody that will be able to give
she's
that.
looking for someone that will be able to do that.
So Dara, in your opinion, do you think it's something that you would need to discuss like early on in a relationship before you go into marriage, like the dynamics of, you know, how the roles will be shared and things like that?
Yes, a big yes. But also, like, use your eyes and your senses. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people, you could have the conversation with someone and they could be very confident in their answer and say, yeah, no, I definitely want us to do 50-50, blah, blah, blah. But when, you know, push comes to shove, they aren't going to necessarily follow what they agreed on. So I think a lot of it is also being really perceptive to the other person and really gauging their personality traits. Like, you know, if they come over and you know, you're serving them a drink and then they just leave the drink there, they don't want to put it in the sink, or you never see them wash a dish in your life when you're around, they bring their laundry to your house, you know, like, you know what I mean, like,
bring their laundry to your house.
I mean, I feel like people are like, people like things like, or if you visit them and they're like, oh, just got a lot of laundry, babe, like, and they kind of expecting you to do that, then run away really, really quick.
Yeah, there's no baby.
Like, why are you doing wife duties when you're not even married? Like, I don't understand that. Like, no. But also with the wife duties thing, like, what do you guys think? Because I feel like a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to go into the gender roles more when they end up getting married.
That's actually a really good point. That's a really good point, because I think you're forced to really think, okay, so husband and wife, what do husband and wife traditionally do? And I feel like in a lot of instances you subconsciously fall into that stereotypical husband and wife situation. Like, you know, even, I really do think that it changed. Like, like I actually, you know, as much as I'm like, you know, I'm talking a big talk here, but I feel like I would slightly adjust once I saw my ring, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Like if the ring's big, the nicer I am. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
Well, you would have more motivation. To
Yeah,
do those
exactly,
things.
like
you
I-
actually want to. You're
stay
like,
at
oh,
home.
exactly, I'm like, oh darling, you worked so hard
Let
today.
me give you a back massage.
But
let me take your shoes off.
oh, let's not go that far. But you know what I mean. Like I feel like I'd be a lot nicer.
Some chicken in the oven.
Yeah,
You want it
yeah,
in 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
yeah,
After your hot bath?
yeah. I feel like I'd definitely be a lot more
Darling.
thoughtful
So you're
because
taking the piss.
no.
Okay.
Yeah. What else are you doing? I'm polishing their shoes, opening the door for them. I don't know.
Hey, once the ring is on, like you said,
Yeah, but like, don't you reckon? Like, I think there's a lot of things that change in your mindset as well, because there's like you said, there's the religion thing as well. You know, the Bible says, you know, you should sort of have, you know, the man should be the head of the family.
Yeah.
And so people take that quite literally and take that quite seriously.
the ones that forget to see that, it also says the woman is the neck.
Yep. And in order to move, you need the neck.
You need the neck, otherwise there's no connection.
Yeah.
The head's off the body, and you can do nothing with
I think that's the
body.
most important part, honestly.
That's
like,
it.
without a neck, what is it?
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
not
not a
really
head,
nothing
it just
happening.
sits there. So, no, so I think there is a slight change in dynamic depending on like your relationship status. Like for me, there's no way you'll find me doing like a boyfriend's laundry. Like, where's my ring?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So Dara needs the ring to do any sort of
any
We're gonna sign a
domesticated
contract.
The prerequisite is a
anything.
ring for Dara.
But then I would only do so much though. Also, let's not get too like ahead of
God.
ourselves. I'm not also going to become like 100% like wifey wife. I think maybe the first couple of months I'll be like wifey wife, and then I get over it and I'll be
Yeah.
like, bro, go wash the dish.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Once it all wears off, the pink cloud.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think? Do you think it's okay to shift your not standards, but sort of your ideals at the time, depending on what situation you're in? Or do you feel like, you know, you would stick to the story? So if you're saying now that I would never, you know, or that it would be very much 50-50, would you change your dynamic to being like, okay, I'm going to do 70 and you can do 30? Like, would you change?
After you're married, I think after you're married, like, I think you have to go into it with a flexible mindset, just because, like, okay, marriage is for life, in my opinion. So when we're talking about for life, like, a lot of things will come that will have to kind of force you to work together somehow. So whether you have kids and you have to take 6 months off, all right, is he ready to be the breadwinner for a little while? You know, is he ready to take on that role? Because now we're saying, now you have to do the masculine role. So does that mean I have to do the female role of cooking and cleaning and all that stuff? On the other hand, the man could take paternity leave and then you decide to go to work earlier. You know, are you ready to put aside those stereotypes and things like that? You know, another thing is, at some point in your careers, one person might make more money than the other.
Yeah.
You know, it might be the woman. She might be earning, let's say, 130K, and the guy's on 80. Like,
Can shift.
does that mean we're still doing 50-50? You know, we kind of have to adjust. Like, and I think that's how I see marriage. Like, you have to be ready to be flexible. You can't go into it rigid and say, no, we are equal. Like, you know, like, yeah, we're totally equal, but you have to kind of work together somehow. That's how I say. But I totally get you when you said, after you get married, some people kind of change a little bit, whether it's starting to do more quote unquote wifey duties or things like that. But I think that's out of excitement, and do them if you want to do them, but I don't think it's right to go into a marriage and then completely change. Like, oh yeah, you used to do all these things, but then now you just chill because I have you now.
That's the thing.
That's when it gets a bit
part.
like,
Oh, true. I feel like that's how some girls like reel some guys in. Like,
Really?
I'll be like
Spicy
little
at the
Miss
start.
Wifey
Okay.
and like, hey.
Yeah.
Then once we're married, like, nah, don't need to.
Like, nah, they're out.
I got you. I tricked you. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
not tricked you, but you know.
They're not cooking no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's why it's important to like have a partner that fits what your different ideas in life are,
Yeah, that's the thing.
right? Or someone that's
Yeah.
able to shift with you or adjust with you.
Yeah,
or
like you can be an
flexible with you.
independent woman and then look for a guy that just wants a stay-at-home woman.
yeah.
Like
that's-
there's gonna be a lot of conflict,
yeah.
and that reminds me of what do you call them, Chioma and Paul. Let's talk about it.
Chioma
Like,
and Paul, booth therapy. Bit of a spicy one there. I think
yeah,
the thing that I really liked about that, I guess that's the short series or whatever, is it did highlight a few issues that, you know, can be prominent in, I guess, more African cultures and things like that, where
yeah.
it is generally the dynamic that the woman is, you know, doing more of the nurturing and things like that, and the man's working like the long hours, like really doing the hustle to make money for the family.
Yeah.
And what I found, particularly in the relationship dynamic between Paul and Shoma, is that, you know, she still kind of had her thing going on, but she was still happy to be supported by Paul. And then Paul was the one that was, you know, working the long hours, like really doing the hustle, but it seemed like he took that advantage of, oh, I'm doing all this work, so like you shouldn't really be complaining about anything that I do, you know, because I'm giving you the Gucci bag,
Yeah.
I'm giving you the
You survived because of me.
exactly
Yeah.
And like in the therapy session they were bringing up the fact that he was just basically not giving her any attention because it's like he kind of felt like he bought her, like he
Like why are you complaining?
exactly.
Like,
I'm giving you the glitz and the glamour, so zip your lips, basically.
yeah.
And yeah, I just kind of felt like I just don't know if I could do that. Like I don't know.
But that's the thing with okay, not to label every guy that wants to be the sole breadwinner of the house, but from what I saw based on that episode or that show, they can be a little controlling. Like it gives them a bit of power because they're like, yeah, you basically have everything you ever wanted because of me.
Yeah.
You know, stop dressing naked on Instagram.
Yeah.
Stop posting this. Why are you shaking your booty? What are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? And it can make the girl feel like she's lost her sense of self or independence or things like that, which is, I feel like, a big part of why Chioma was, you know, heartbroken and feeling a bit neglected in that relationship.
Yeah. I mean, so if that's the dynamic, Dara, how do you think, like, do you think a 50-50 is really possible? Like, can you really have a 50-50? Like, assets 50-50, everything 50-50. Do you actually think it's going to work?
I think with the assets thing, you could definitely work on things being 50-50, but I think the emotional support, the dynamics in the home, it's really hard to obviously pinpoint 50-50. You're not going to be like, okay, today I'm doing the dishes and tomorrow you do the dishes. Or maybe you can, but like,
Now you're putting a
that's
tally.
but it's
There's a
like,
timetable.
you know, there's a timetable, but there's going to be times where like one person gets sick, one person's more overwhelmed.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
something's happening. Maybe, you know, they have to go away for the week or, you know, and that's why I think it's so important to have a partner that, takes the time to be aware of your position and what's happening in your lives together. Because I think it's dangerous then if they expect you, let's say you just had a baby, you're holding the baby and you're like, okay, babe, where's my food? Like, and you're still working or something, you know, from home or whatever your case might be.
Yeah.
So I think it's really dangerous if you have a partner that's not willing to look at what situation you guys are in and then obviously adjust to that. And there'll definitely be times where you're doing a lot more housework or vice versa. So and then I guess it also depends on like the individual, because for example, look, I don't mind cooking, but it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Like
same.
I'm one of those people who's like, I actually like cleaning more because I like seeing like the fruits of my work. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh wow, so
It smells
pretty.
so good because of me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and like I've started doing this random thing with toilet paper rolls, like where I fold it into different
Oh,
shapes
Lord.
so that like it's like looks really pretty every time you use it.
Going
Anyway,
to that next level.
so
She's
which is
already on the
really
next level.
weird for me because like I feel like in my head I'm like, oh, I'm not a housewife. It's not me.
But you
But like
kinda
there's some little
Yeah,
things that
exactly.
I really care about.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
bought a new Dyson
Yeah.
last week, and that was like the most exciting thing.
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
yes, like look how like amazing this vacuum is. Like it sucks up everything. But yeah, it's just being able to adjust and really realizing like what the other person's doing and how they're doing.
Yeah.
But the other day, I actually saw something in the Kenyan court recently. They declared that being a housewife is a full-time job.
I did see
Right?
that.
So that's the thing. Like, are we, you know, sometimes I think, okay, like if you had to be a full-time housewife, that's still a job. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's another element that I think maybe we should look at as well is, you know, it's a job. You have to cook, clean, you know, maybe be the chief organizer, you know, sort everything out. So
if it's a job, then it has to have a job description.
oh,
And for it to be a job, you need to have agreed to the terms and conditions. So,
Oh.
yeah, you're gonna get paid for it then.
so who's
Like,
going to pay for it? So your partner's going to pay
Whoever
for you.
chose you to be their housewife
Wow.
is the person that has decided they will, you know, add to the monetary benefits of your bank account and your hard labor.
So like pocket money? Like is that what
Is
we're
that what the
talking
job
about?
description says?
Oh.
I mean, I don't want someone to tell me that you're giving me pocket money. Hell
No,
no.
I said it's a job.
No,
Great.
the-
I will apply, but I need to know the package is working.
Yeah, the package must be sweet.
That's
okay,
it.
okay, no, but okay. So if your partner was like, yes, you can stay at home, and you're happy to stay at home, and you're like, okay, but I need to get money. Like obviously, I need to get paid.
Yeah.
So would you be like, okay, if it was like, okay, babe, here's $1,000 a week, or does it need to be like hefty? Like, are we looking at like at least $10,000 a week? I need to be seeing.
I think it
I need to
depends
see
on
their
who
money
you're a housewife
flowing.
for. Who are you a housewife for? Is it for Bill Gates or is it for Mark or Mike Zuckerberg? What's his name?
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay, so I guess that
The package will be different.
yeah, no, it sounds like I really need Bill Gates to be a real
Yeah.
housewife because then I'm not doing it. Like I'm not doing it for $1,000 a week.
No,
No.
$1,000.
Which is
Sorry.
fine actually because I'm not saying anything's wrong with that amount of money, but I'm just
No.
saying like that's not as an individual. That's not really
It's
what
not
I
a
want
job
to
you
do.
go
That's
for
full-
because
Like full time, but like to have that sort of job, it's not 37.5 hours a week. Like that's like a 247 thing. So, you know, how are you going to equally be compensated for that? Like,
So
it's
so
not a
1,000
roster.
is not enough
I mean,
then.
unless it's a roster, but I don't think it's a roster because, you know, yeah.
But you know,
I don't
you could
think
actually
so.
do 37 hours a week for
37
depending on
and a half
who are
hours.
you a housewife for? That's the question. Is it a massive giant mansion or is it, you know, a 5-bedroom house or
So
1-bedroom house?
you'll decide your pocket money based on the square meters of your
Yeah,
home
because it's the job.
and how
How
many
many hours
kids you
am I
have.
spending cleaning
Yeah,
this
the kids
place?
has to be your
How
deciding
many
factor.
kids are here? How many people am I
Because-
feeding?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How many meals am I making?
How many drop-offs am I doing?
Yeah, a lot of
That is a full-time
considerations.
job. I've seen stay-at-home moms, like literally the entire day is packed. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. Especially if you have a toddler, a high schooler, maybe a primary schooler, and then someone going to uni. I don't know. Like, that
Yeah.
can be a full-time job.
Yeah, true.
So you wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't go for that job because it's not in alignment with my goals. But I'll respect whoever does it.
Okay.
That's all I can say. Yeah. Because it's not easy being a stay-at-home mom. Not that I've
No.
done it before, but I'm just saying that from what I've seen, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, I don't think it's easy.
Oh no. So you better be compensated wisely.
I agree.
Yeah. But would I want it? No, I wouldn't. I don't desire it.
So I guess one thing that I want to know from you guys is, we've talked about a lot of things from our side as females, right? But I guess I want to know, if you met a partner, and obviously he's a man, well, not obviously, but yeah, in this situation it's a man, and he comes up to you and he's like, yep, I really want to be in this relationship with you, but I want to stay at home and I want you to be the breadwinner and I want to cook and clean. What would you do? How would you feel and how would you answer to that? Would you be like, yeah, boy, stay at home. Boy. I'm going to bring in the money. Like, you look after the kids, or you don't even, it doesn't have to be kids, but you know what I mean? Like, they're going to stay at home and cater to your needs at home. Like, would you be okay with that? Honestly,
no. Short answer. Yeah, I don't think. Well, in my opinion, I just don't think there's much security in relying on my only income, unless I have like 7, 8, 10 streams of income and I'm filthy rich. I actually would consider it, but I'd want to know that I'm not just, like, there's, God, how do I say this without offending anybody in the world? Yeah, it would depend on the circumstances, but let me say, according to my life at the moment, it's an absolute no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tayo?
Agreed. It's not happening. No. Okay, and especially it wouldn't... Nah, I just can't see it happening. Nah, I actually can't see it happening. But I'm also thinking from a perspective of, okay, so if the man's going to be this, the stay-at-home everything, and if there's a scenario where there's kids, like, we do have to take into consideration, like, there are physical limitations, between men and female, as far as I'm aware. So, like, if you've got a baby, I mean, the dad can't, be doing the breastfeeding and all that sort of stuff. So,
could pump it up for them.
I mean, it could work. It could work. But I just don't... I don't know. I just don't know how I would see that working.
But doesn't that just show, like, how much society has shaped our viewpoints? Because if a woman says that's what I'm doing, yes, we're a little bit like, oh, okay, I wouldn't do that. But we're not like, oh my gosh, like, what a travesty. Like, oh my gosh.
To tell me, what do you mean?
Exactly. But then if like I came to him and I'm like, oh, I'm dating someone and he wants to stay at home, or, we're married and he wants to stay at home, I feel like a lot more people would be upset about that than the other way around.
That's so true. People would be like, what's going on?
Yeah, like, what's going on? What did you marry? Like, riff-raff is it? You know what I mean? Like, it would be pretty hectic sort of viewpoints about that. So it's interesting that society has, shaped the way we view things in such a strong way.
So we kind of do have a little bit of tradition still.
Yes, because if you didn't have tradition, you'd be like, oh, it's fine. My man can stay at home.
Yeah. It's like we kind of pick and choose what sort of things.
Yeah, we kind of do, because even like with who pays for the first date, like,
that's actually a good one, because that who pays for the first date is like a
controversial one.
It is very controversial. Like,
it's not controversial for me. You're paying for the first date. Like, I actually don't understand what the problem is here.
But see, that is a traditional viewpoint that you held on to and you've just refused to let go.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, we do pick and choose what we like, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I see relationships as partnerships. So I think, it doesn't really feel like a partnership if there's only one person, bringing in the income.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like that for me.
I think with the date thing, though, like, come on,
guys. The date thing is,
there's a limit. There's, like, a limit. Just like the way you don't want a stay-at-home dad necessarily. Like, I do not want to be paying for my first date, and I never have, and I never will. Sorry.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Okay, I think the first date, That one is kind of a big one. Not to digress too much, but I do remember a situation.
Oh no.
I have heard some stories.
I do remember a situation where, you know, we went out for dinner and I felt like it was a quite affordable dinner, but, you know, the card kept declining.
Oh no.
And you know, it was the old, you know, contact bank on the ATM machine.
Oh.
And like, I'm not going to lie, it did put like a thought in my head. So like, if you can't afford this, so is that as far as it's wait I'm sorry, but it did kind of leave a bit of a bad like thought in my mind, like like I know it's going to sound very shallow, but it did make me think, so like is there going to have to be a limit of the things? Because if I live this sort of lifestyle and
we're not going to be able to have the same
of your
lifestyle. Yeah.
You're like,
it
no,
is.
this is
It
not what I
is.
want.
And it might have been a really genuine reason that the card declined.
Did
but
he
it's
not give a
expired.
reason? He just like let it decline and said nothing.
And
then did you pay?
It was
Like-
the old that was the thing. It was the old like, I've been having issues with my card, like it keeps doing this kind of thing, and I felt
But
really bad.
I feel like if you were having issues, let me change myself to a man. Okay, I'm a man now. I'm taking a girl out for the first day, and I've been having issues with my card. What I would do is I'd literally go to the bank and get cash out.
Yeah,
I'd get like $300 or something and put it in my pocket
So maybe
and
he
take her out
didn't
for
have
a
money.
date.
He didn't have money, baby.
We're not making any claims.
I'm not making
but
any claims. No,
I'll
times are
just say
tough.
reasonably, you'd think they'd do something before the date, not go with a
Yeah.
card that's not working.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, but I think like that just goes back to, you know, how we were saying that you need to be really aware of the person you're dating and really like look at their actions and like how they deal with things and all of that. Because I mean, I went on a date. It was maybe like our second date, maybe, and like we just went out for a coffee, and we ordered the coffee. Then he stood there and waited for me to pay for the coffee.
Oh.
Actually, no. This is what happened. It was basically like he waited for me to pay for my own coffee. Then he went and paid for his own coffee.
Oh, see,
And this is the
that's
second
one.
date.
No,
So,
I don't like that.
I don't like that because I was like, what do you mean it's a coffee? Like, wouldn't you just be like,
It's
out of the kindness of my
$4,
heart,
man.
like, just let me pay for your coffee? But he really made sure that, like, he's not paying for that coffee. And to make it worse as well, like, he kept asking me out on other dates. So it's like, it's, you know, when, like, sometimes I take that as, maybe he's just, like, wants us to be friends. Like, no, this guy was still, like, DMing me and whatever. And I was like, no, bro. And I was like, okay, no, but I was trying to be like, this is when I was younger and I was like nice to everyone. Now I've grown up and I don't have time for that. But I was literally like, okay, no, maybe there was just a thing like that day. It's fine. Third date, I think we had like something, it wasn't even that expensive. It was probably like chicken and rice type style food. And he again paid for his first and then I had to pay for mine. So I was kind of like, no, this just shows me that this is going to be, if I end up with this person, it's going to be a stingy relationship, very stingy, like never ever going to put effort into like looking after me. Like, and that's not something I expect all the time because I'm actually happy to pay for like my partner's meal once in a while, but this shouldn't be a trend where we, for every single outing, especially when you're trying to court me. Like, I mean, have you seen me? No. No, but do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I bring a lot to the table. So, I mean, I feel like you can pay for a coffee. So I think it's just like being so careful about looking at your situation and, take the actions more than the words sometimes, because that's I'm sorry, I ain't marrying anyone who doesn't want to pay for my coffee.
No, the coffee at the minimum.
Yeah,
right.
And that shows like a clash of values even when you're dating, which is probably a good sign. So you can be like, thank you for doing that now rather than like later. But I was just thinking like, we have these viewpoints like, I think we can agree that all of us would want the first date to be paid for by the person that, you know, took us out. But it makes me wonder, what about females or, you know, just people, not just females, because I know heterosexuals are not the only people that exist in this
Mhm.
world.
Mhm.
What is their viewpoint now? Like, do they care about someone paying for the first date? Like, you know, if you're talking about heterosexual,
Yeah.
like, do they care about the guy paying for the first date, or are they kind of like, nah, we should totally split it? Like, that's just normal.
Yeah, no, there's a lot
Yeah.
of people who are happy to go Dutch, is the saying.
Yeah.
Dutch.
Yeah, go Dutch,
Splitting.
splitting.
Yeah.
See, but they're so like totally cool with that, but we're
Mhm.
just like, no, that's actually offensive. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
Is it a
it depends.
generational thing? Like, would you advise your daughter, make sure he pays, but your daughter's gonna be like, why?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Like, that's so outdated, mum. Like, we're in
Yeah, they probably-
2052.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely. I think our future kids would definitely say like that's so
That's
outdated.
Yeah,
Because people are already saying it now that it's
Yeah.
outdated. It's an outdated way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, you invited me though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
And-
you didn't invite me for something, or you said, "Oh, I'm taking you here," like, don't say you're taking me, and if I'm taking myself at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so-
also like also guys like what they get to wear the same pair of jeans and then just maybe if we're lucky change the shirt. Like we have to like we put on not you don't have to, but I feel like we do a lot. Like we put on our lashes, we put on those heels, we put on that outfit. We don't we don't wear the same outfit twice with the guy.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. Like we put a lot of effort. Like I mean, I just feel like it's just
It's
courtesy,
the least you
really.
could do.
It's the least, yeah. And also, all that takes time.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like something that happens in like 2 seconds. So,
No.
I'm just like, and but definitely it is a sign for me. Like, if you can't look after a coffee or like one meal, then it just shows that,
First impression.
yeah, what are you going to do when we have kids? Like, you're just going to, like, what are we going to do about that?
Yeah.
What happens if I'm not making enough money? What happens if I have to take leave because I'm pregnant? What if, so you just know that you're on your own.
Yeah.
You might as well be single.
Oh. Oops. I mean,
I said what I said.
well, I think actually that's a good point to round off on. So, what would you actually say to your kids going into a relationship, understanding the dynamics or, your previous situations, relating to gender roles and things like that? What's 2 pieces of advice you would give your kids in relation to that as to how they should set themselves up? Dara?
Have an emergency bank account. Look, I actually don't believe in like having only a joint bank account and like that's it. I just don't
Yeah.
believe in it. Like,
Yeah.
I think maybe it's because I'm a lawyer and obviously I have like friends that work in family law, and a lot of women and men are stuck in a position where they financially can't look after themselves. So I just would say, do what you want. You can pick who you want, obviously, as long as they're respectful. But always have a backup plan, like always have that bank account. And also, besides like splitting up, horrible things can happen. Like you could lose your partner, you could, you never know. So I just think having a backup plan is like so important. And I think that's what I would encourage my kid to do. Don't rely on anyone. Like
100%.
too much anyway, you can rely on your partner, but
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be to the full extent where you just know without your partner you can't pay, rent, you can't feed yourself. That's it. Future kids.
Yeah.
What about you,
Sophie?
Sophie?
I would definitely tell them to choose someone who aligns with their values and the life that they want to live, obviously. Because I feel like that's where a lot of headbutting comes out of. Like, this one wants a luxurious lifestyle, but this one just wants a simple, 9-to-5 type of lifestyle. And, yeah, so I would definitely tell them to choose someone who aligns with their values and the life that they want to live. But 100% I agree with Dara. I would also tell them, make sure you always have your own money no matter what. You can always take care of yourself, even by yourself. So, yeah.
Love it. Love it.
What about you, Tayo?
Yeah,
What are you going to tell your babies?
I guess, I do like the points that you guys raised. I would definitely say be sure to discuss with whoever you're with that men can also take some of the nurturing roles, like, and I've learned that from my my parents' dynamic as well. Like, don't be afraid to get them in the kitchen. Don't be afraid to like get them to understand how to do cooking and all those sorts of things, because once you kind of express that to the person that you're with, like, most of the time they do kind of take on those responsibilities without any issues. So that, and I do 100% agree with having your own stuff. Like, don't rely too much on one person, because you just never know.
It's a partnership.
It is.
It's a joint venture, not,
But you're still individuals, so.
But you're still individuals. You're still your own people.
That's
it. That's it.
And that's our 3 cents. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to give us your thoughts on today's topic on our Instagram page, 3cents.podcast.
Signing out, it's Dara,
Sophie, and Tayo.